live with no job. Live. Good evening, good evening, good evening, good evening, good evening, good evening. Welcome to What's Your Story? I'm your host, Malik Spellman, here on the scene, ready to get it in. Do me a favor, hit that subscribe button. I'll give you a few moments to chime in. Once again, I got about 5 subscribers, and I'm going to cater to all 5 of them. So if anybody's out there in TV land that really, got love for your boy, tap in and hit that subscribe button. Because we about to talk about some real issues in this community right now. And I'm going to be short and sweet like bear meat with it, though. You heard me, so prepare for landing. I got some special guests here with me today. Daoud Sherrill, my boy V, and also TS. So we're going to try to make it happen, man. So, stay tuned, and we're going to stay laced, man, like Chucks, man. So here it is here, y'all. Slide in, young man, if you can, if I can get a few minutes of your time. Appreciate you. Thank you. If you can slide in, Vic, come in some a little bit more so the audience can see you right here, beloved. Thank you. What's your story? Tap in. What's your story? I'm your host, Malik Spellman. I got my boy Dada in the background. And today's topic, believe it or not, is going to be about mental health in the Black community as it pertains to us and the issue of gang violence and how it affects us concerning mental health. So tap in. We'll give you a few more minutes to get this in, because even if you don't tap in, it's going to go live and you can see it later on. So I want to, with no further ado, I want to introduce Daoud Sherrill. We're going to share this microphone. Let me know if there's any issues with the audio, and we'll go from there. Brother Sherrill, introduce yourself to the listening audience.
What's the deal? So, shouts out to the listening audience. I'm Daoud Sherrill. Definitely I'm interested in talking about this whole topic around mental health. And it's, to me, it's a pleasure for me to be right here with Dr. Spellman, on such a subject, that relates to, our communities and stuff. Us as Black men, women, children, all the trauma and everything that's surrounding us, and how it affects, our thinking, our moods, attitudes, health, all that. So,
let me ask you a question. What part do you think that mental health plays in terms of people that are in the community that suffer from ATSD, active traumatic stress disorder, as opposed to PTSD? How serious is of this 25, 30-year crisis and the mental health issues that it left behind?
I look at it as stress, like I say, it's more of a mental thing that's based upon incidents or trauma that you have experienced, during your lifespan, especially during our childhood. Holding on to trauma, kind of affects, your decision making. Sometimes it can also, separate you from your emotions, which is your feelings. Sometimes we have to numb that down, as persons, and it's like I said, it's a way that it, like I said, it definitely can, affect, your decision making.
Now, in terms of the crisis that's going on in the community today with gang violence, homelessness, stuff of that nature. Hold on a second. Brother TS.
Yes, sir.
Take the West Wing. In terms of all the crises that we see with brothers and sisters sleeping on the streets and stuff like that, how is that really affecting your work as an activist in this community? I mean, realistically speaking, because the stuff that we see today is not just drug induced. It's actually poverty at its highest. And I think poverty will lend to mental illness as well as suicide.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Can you expound on that for me?
I'm mental health.
Well, all right, so they can jump in on that.
I'm mental health.
Talk about that subject because, like I say, from growing up in impoverished neighborhoods, which represents lack of control of anything, and always have to seek things to provide your happiness or your livelihood and things like that. Like I say, it's. I mean, I'm gonna turn it over to Salahuddin. I was trying to do a little definition on it too right now.
Here goes Salahuddin, brother TS from the Jungles community. He's going to give us some more insight because I think he has a better perspective on what the effects of mental illness is and how it pertains to people who are involved in gang activity.
Mental illness didn't start in America. It started on the slave ships. That's where it started at. All Africans in America suffer from mental health. We're traumatized. Somebody saying that nothing happened to us and therefore no healing has ever begun. So all of us tinge on a mental health cliff. All of us as brothers and sisters in America, all of us have mental health issues, and we have wellness issues also. Therefore, actually, I'm certified mental health from doing 18 years straight in maximum security prison. I get a check for it also. I don't take the meds. I take herbs, as my mother raised me, and my doctor knows that we don't espouse to any medications, but we are holistic. Therefore, and my mental health judge, he said that marijuana and coke are great for mental health and hypertension. So why so many people on the street on marijuana and coke? Because they got mental health issues.
But now, how does mental health, what part does it play for people who are, like, for example, a military soldier will suffer from PTSD, PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder.
The post-traumatic stress disorder, I just had to crash it. One just crashed into me. He came from Iraq, and he was terrorizing us in the neighborhood. Eventually, he wrecked into me, and I'm mental health versus PTSD.
PTSD.
So, yes.
So would it be fair to say that you have active traumatic stress disorder, ATSD?
Undoubtedly, I do. That would be sufficient.
How would you explain to the listening audience how this came into effect? How would you do that?
We all are learning ourselves as the days go by. As we inhale and exhale, we are learning ourselves.
But I mean, when you say you're learning yourself, how does gang violence and growing up in poverty and forced into a situation like they have here in Los Angeles, is that a form of mental illness, would you say? And if so, how does one deal with it?
I just slept 3 nights in a tent during that storm. Not because I had to, because I felt like it. I left the house. I left the house, and I don't know why I feel like I need to go down there and feel the pain of the people on the sidewalk, but I did. Nobody knew where I was, and y'all were worried about me. Down there, they're gonna steal your phone. They're gonna steal your phone for $5 bag of heroin. So once the phone was stolen, I had to stay down there 3 nights during the storm just now, up in a tent, freezing. I don't go in anyone's tent. This was my first. I stand outside the tents. I'm scared of the rats and all that. I'm a West Side Fly guy from Baldwin Hills. So therefore, yes, sir. My mama didn't raise me. I didn't even know anything existed like Skid Row with black people in California. The furthest my mother took us downtown was Beano's and Santee Street. Never knowing that further down, it was brothers and sisters on the sidewalk, like roaches and rats.
We got our Muslim brother on the phone, brother Big Cat, Kevin Doucette.
Mm-hmm.
And excuse me. And I'm sorry. And we got brother Doucette on the phone, and he's the one that brought it to my attention, the severity of the mental illness in our community. And he's from this Rolling 60s tribe, not gang, but tribe. And he's the main person that really brought it to my attention how serious of an issue this is.
Very serious.
And he took me over there to show me how serious of an issue it is. And I'll let you listen to him. And Big Cat, I don't know if it's possible for you to tap in, but we're going to try our best to get you to tap in on this. If nothing else, we'll get your voice. Tell us who you are and what exactly is your experience with mental health. Right. But wait a minute. You said, hold on a second. Let me interrupt you. You're saying that this brother's from another tribe called the Gear Gang, and he's living in your community with a mental illness? But that's unprecedented in gangland. How does this happen?
Real.
Well, how do you describe his mental illness? Can you give us a scenario as to one of the episodes of his mental illness? Yes, sir. Jesus Christ.
Allah.
Now, we tried to get him some medicine. Tell him about when you tried to get the little brother some medicine. Now you offered get him some peroxide to rinse away the bacteria. What was that like?
Abscess. You don't know. Yes, it is. Stinky.
So hold on a second. I think Dow want to expound on that.
No, I was just saying that's just a sad state.
That was a sad state.
And like I say, as black men and black fathers, 90% of our, well, I can't say 90, but it's a high number of us who are suffering, from the pressures of society that's, like you said, is contributing to the breakdown of our mental health. And like you say, living on the sidewalk and not having medical, not having housing, not having the adequate things to survive as a human being contribute to our mental health. Only thing that live in the wild is animals.
That's right.
And right now they got us back to, living like animals again, A lot of our, like I said, our ancestors and our grandparents and stuff migrated here for the simple fact that, we didn't have housing. And, they signed a Fair Housing Act in 1968.
Yes, sir.
But here it is in 2022. We back without housing now. You know, that's sad
Mainly black
because that black man or that black father, you know, that black somebody's child wasn't born like that. You know what I'm saying? You know, we ain't born like this.
Very scary.
You know, this is the pressures of society, you know what I'm saying, that concentrate their efforts on keeping us, you know what I'm saying, suppressed. And so that's contributing to our mental health because, you know, every human being deserves food, clothing, and shelter.
Yes.
And fighting for the 14th Amendment, which is our liberty, you know, happiness. You know, that black man has been defeated. And I commend you, brother, you know, and the blessings we get when we try to pick one another up. You know, we have to go away with the whole thing with, you know, this gang culture did. It separated us, even though we were separated because it was a part of our reproduction, you know, in society and building up because we have to have different customs and cultures so that we don't be intermixing, you know what I'm saying, with your first bloodline. But the separation that we're going through right now is identity. You know, we you know, black man is man. We have the lowest total poll of any other, you know, ethnic group or race out here. You know, it's black men. You know what I'm saying? There's about 25 million of us. And you know, man, we all every time, like you said, we go down the street. When you see a black person, we see them on the bus benches. We see them, laying on the sidewalk, in tents.
Let me add to that.
And all that type of stuff. So yeah, I'm gonna let Salahuddin take a little.
Presently, I'm on public transportation. The mental health people are the bulk on the train. They ride it from can't see at night till can't see at day till they stop running, and they run the line. They live on the train. They're running up and down the aisle, throwing liquids, pants all the way to the ankles, terrorizing everybody on the train. Me, I'm looking wise and civilized. They don't even know I'm mental health like them. So the police is on the train, afraid of them, because mental health now is a death sentence. They will kill you right now, you mental health. They will gun you down instead of call your doctor like that computer says in that squad car to do. They have remedy. What some mental health people should not even be handcuffed from behind, like myself, for being in the SHOE program. Do they ever call their doctor's numbers? Once they hit that computer and see this person's mental health, there's an emergency, there's a takedown unit that's going to generally take them down and take them to the hospital that's in white vans and white cars. Why do they shoot these people down? I just seen on the world news that mental health has become a death sentence for us. So you have to be careful with being mental health now because the police have been gunning them down currently in the news, currently killing. Capital murder. Straight up executing all mental health patients that's in the street with no care and no wellness type of program going down. So therefore, I have to jump up and check all these mental health people on the train because everybody else and the police and Homeland Security on that damn train said they can't touch them. Their mental health, but they can't shoot them.
One of the topics for this campaign for mayor from both candidates was an issue talking about mental health and how should they criminalize it or should it be a volunteer thing that
they criminalize
it. The family can call in and say, hey, you suffer from mental health, and they come arrest you and put you away to give you all the different treatments and trying to bring you back to health, which is medicine is not the solution.
No, it's not.
If we deal with the pressures, that's contributing to our mental health, which is lack of housing, lack of food, lack of shelter, lack of an opportunity to take care of ourselves. If they can just, align us with that, then, there's no mental health for us. But like I say, with the pressures of, living in LA and the gentrification and redevelopment, and you have to have $90,000 a year to survive. I said survive. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, if you ain't making $90,000 a year, you living in a cardboard box. In LA, they're gonna tell you get way up the hill. That you can't survive out there because all the things that you want in from satisfy your primary needs, you got to go in. So now you're spending gas, you're spending all these things, and you can't survive out there. So it's there's no real solution other than for us as a black race, and we have to look at because we have more black millionaires now today than ever. The problem is that everybody is utilizing them and eating off them and building themselves futures and lives and satisfying their whole, primary needs, food, clothing, and shelter. And, they got value because, they're eating off the wealth of people who come out of these ghettos. You know what I'm saying? So the thing is that, man, we have to start, like they say, talk to a brother today, start separating ourselves, stop empowering these people, man. If they ain't really coming back, financing housing development projects, you guys, they can take bonds out to build low-income housing to deal with us, man. We homeless, you know what I'm saying? And like I say, most of us, in order for us to be responsible, we have to have the same necessities that makes everybody else responsible, That's what it's about. You know what I'm saying? Our mental health and what they do trying to do is, like I said, it's like, when we solved the gang problem in 1992, when nobody wasn't going to jail that much for killing one another, they came up with domestic violence. And then everybody started going to jail for domestic violence. They used OJ to commercialize it. But after that, we all started going to jail for domestic violence and enforced on child support and all these other things. And now, because they see we homeless and we depressed and we don't have nothing and we ain't making 90,000 and we can't survive, they call it mental health now. And so now, your mother or somebody that say if they see you out here, hey, put them in the hospital, put them up under some type of conservative care so that somebody can take care of him for the rest of his life.
But is there a hospital for them to go to, or do they go to prison?
No, right now.
They criminalize them. So
they criminalize them. Yeah, you can go to an institution. You know what I'm saying? And
mental health is a crime and a death sentence now. Yeah. Especially in California.
The thing is, how do we deal with it? They claim that majority of us got mental health issues. So,
but how serious of an issue is it in the urban community? Because
it's this is on the world news in our community right now. Mental health, being shot down by pigs, that's a death sentence. Mental health. Okay. It's currently in the news and the world news today.
But let me ask you a question. So it's in the world news and it's in the hood news as well. But how serious? Let me poll y'all. How serious of an issue? And I'm gonna ask Vic this to chime in. V, how serious of an issue in terms of psychological effects on our children is the poverty that's now turned into mental illness, which they're both synonymous to one another? Yes, what did you say, Vic, about that?
As far as the psychological aspect of it, the effect that it has on our kids, I kind of wish I would have had more time to study on this year.
But is there a bad or good effect on it? What do you think?
Well, it's a bad effect on it because everything, like how everything is going right now, our kids are not given, their basic necessities, which is something that's very simple. They're being denied their birth rights.
Food, shelter, clothing.
Okay, that's a great point. Now, Don, let me bring an issue up to you. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
In other communities, they have the trash recycling bins in front of the house. And when you're backing out in Beverly Hills, or if you live in Bel Air, some of these well-to-do communities, not that we use them as an example, but that we'll go there. And the child is backing up in the Volvo, and he says to his mom, "Hey, Mom, what is that container, that blue thing?" And she says, "Oh, Billy, that's for recycling, and it cleans the planet and all that." That's the normal way. Would I be correct to say that? Mm-hmm. How do you explain when little Pookie backing out the driveway going to school and his daddy's lowrider and see his uncle digging in the trash? Is that still recycling, or is that?
Well, I look at it as, everything is survival. Right now, those people that are digging in the trash, they got recyclable, they surviving up there. And so for a person in our neighborhood to see a person doing that, sometimes it could be classified as, he's homeless. You know what I'm saying?
Or he's a bum.
He's a bum, but it's all about survival. He's working off the bare minimum because maybe his skill set is not qualifying him to get a salary to survive.
Okay, it's not qualifying, but what quantifies what he does is the question.
What qualifies that you have 90% of the people out here that's hustling like that. Because we don't have the degrees to survive in a corporate society. We live in a corporate society. You live in a city, county, and state. And you're looking at organizations and corporations that's running and dictating the flow of the money by policy. They write policies and laws, and you can't qualify because you don't fit that certain policy unless you go to a USC, a UCLA, and all these. So these fraternal organizations got thousands of employees, and if you don't fit that criteria, how are you surviving? So it's a form of hustling. But he doing it because he don't want to go to jail. Some of us will do something to hustle to put ourselves in taking our freedom that we'd be in prison doing what he doing for 38 cents on the dollar. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, it's just a form of hustle. And we have to educate our people, to think that, recyclable is a multi-billion-dollar industry. And we just don't control it. He's still at the grassroots level. So we can begin to start putting our minds on things that's more tangible, whereas your investment is lower, but your profit is great. It don't cost him nothing to get those bottles out the trash.
Now,
but he gonna go turn it into some dollars, though. You know what I'm saying?
Now that's true. But on the contrary, for those who are not earth conscious, who are not looking to gain from the spoils of war, should I say, the stuff that they scour through the trash and get every day. And it's mental illness eating out the trash and all that. Mm-hmm. My point is this, and I'm trying to be as concise and precise as I can, and because our viewers are going to watch this at a later point. Mm-hmm. And this crisis in our community across the United States, and God bless Chicago, is beyond our comprehension. I want to ask you another question before we decide that our viewers get to their evening. If I was to ask, and I'm going to poll each and every one of you guys, how many years do you, starting with you, Donald, think that it would add up to if you added up all your friends that are incarcerated and have been incarcerated? If you added it all together.
People that grew up in my era, I'm 54, and starting off as kids, we can count on 5 hands the friends you had. On 5 hands,
There's the friends that you lost to murder compared to the friends you lost to poverty in comparison to the friends that you have incarcerated as a large number, starting with incarceration. Would it be 10,000 years? Would it be 100,000 years? Like if I added up all my friends that I have in prison, when I met this brother, he was doing life, I believe it was.
28 years at 50%.
At 50%. My other boy just got out last night, Red, God bless you, from A-Trade. Welcome home. He just did like 25 or 28 years. My little brother did 20. I think in my number, I think it would be over 10,000 years. Mm-hmm. If you just add up everybody's sentence.
Mm-hmm. Well, in that case, in my family, I got a brother right now that's civilly committed, that was facing the death penalty, and I got another brother that's serving life that's off the chart. And so, those years you don't get back, and the separation from that, is contributing to their mental health that affecting their children. But like I said, as an overall community, the memories we have of loved ones and friends, man, and when those loved ones and friends are not here to enjoy, the spoils, which is really, being responsible parents to their kids. The numbers is ridiculous.
Would you say the numbers are staggering?
Staggering, man. Staggering.
And shout out to Big Cat. If you're out there, Big Cat, next time, this is all a test run. This is our 3rd show. And we're not trying to perfect them. We're just trying to get the word out. So we'll get all the fancy bells and whistles and graphics and all that. But for the most part,
I think it's keep it grassroots, man. It's the topic that we need to talk about to address the madness. You know what I'm saying? That we're living in madness right now. And ain't nobody coming to save us.
Wow.
Not even Jesus.
Wow. Well, you heard it right here on What's Your Story? Special guest, Daoud Sherrill, one of the architects of the gang truce. Yeah. Brother V, brother that work in the city of Watts, helping feeding the poor. Brother TS, extraordinaire, from the jungles, housing community by the way of the Baldwin Hills Village. We don't call it the jungle, we call it Baldwin Hills Village. Tarzan named it the jungles. We didn't name it that. But until next time, people remember, mental health is real. So before you pick up a weapon against someone that has a mental illness, pick up a phone. Get them a stick of weed if that's the case, if that's your forte. Because a lot of times they just crying out for help. And just know, you're just one situation away from being a mental health patient yourself at the way that things are going. The economy is so bad that the mailman can't afford gas. He's calling people, reading the mail to them on the phone.
Let's not condemn them. Let's redeem them.
Redeem them. This is across the globe, okay? People, this is not a entertainment show. This is a social but yet entertaining show to get the word out. If we got to sit in the kitchen, and we may name it the kitchen because we're in the kitchen trying to get this word out to let you know Don't give up on your people. Whatever you do, do not give up on your people. Mental illness is a real situation, and it could be you. Because it takes just one crisis. God forbid someone pass in your family or get shot or die unexpectedly, and it affect you differently.
Homelessness don't make you mental health.
No, homelessness and getting a home does not cure illness, mental illness.
No, it doesn't. I said being out there, it's going to enhance it.
Right.
And if you've never been out there, it's scary, and you will become mentally ill out on the street surviving.
Well, this is my thing with the listening public. Mental illness is one thing, but housing is another. So I don't call people that are on the streets homeless. I call them survivors, and I call them Americans. Those are Americans.
Yes,
they worked at all the big companies. They made all the contributions to the society. They were jurors. They were citizens. They were law enforcement officers, psychiatrists, doctors, and most of all, that's someone's uncle, auntie, grandmother, or human being that's a part of our race.
Like you said, mental health is the topic.
It is.
What we're talking about is the deterioration of our mental health based upon the pressures of society. Right. And the pressures could be you can't pay your rent. Pressures is that you got kids out here that you're worried about every day. They're gonna get killed. They're gonna make it.
Right.
The mental health issue. I mean, that's just the topic. We're talking about the deterioration and the pressures of society that's contributing to the deterioration of your mental health. Yes. So the topic is what it is. But what we're talking about is understanding those pressures. You know what I'm saying? Understanding those childhood conditions that you never really spoken about, and you holding that stuff inside, and it start affecting your decision making process, your emotions, your feelings, and everything. And so for us, because we grew up in an environment where we was traumatized, you know what I'm saying, we became numb to what was traumatizing us because we had to survive as kids, you know what I'm saying, growing up in Watts, and it was housing project development, and seeing your parents poor, your parents with health issues and things like that. We have to endure these things. And so, to overcome that for me and for a lot of us out there, because we ain't no different. We all seen it. Is that, we have to start redeeming ourselves, putting things that's more positive into our life and surrounding ourselves with people, that's trying to go places. As a race of people, we used to learn together. We had initiation processes within our culture before they outlawed us that, all the male would go over here and they would all learn how to spirit, do everything together. And then the women would go over here and they would learn how to do things together. And that was a part of our culture. But out here living in our communities, we are taught to be separated. So we, if we even trying to help one another, it's feel like it's a taboo because we think something's going to happen because that's the way we've been conditioned. And so in order for us to survive this mental health thing is that we're going to have to start doing more things together. And like I said, adding more positivity activities and surrounding ourselves with more positive thought and just taking action on it. Because, you can't rely on medication. The medication itself it numbs the thing, but then it has other health effects, towards your liver, your kidney, and all that stuff. Then you get sick. You know what I'm saying? So, it's something that we gotta, start practicing as Black men for one, because Black men is like the protectors of our race and our tribe, and if we are in the dumps, then there's no one there to tend the flock. So our kids get exposed to the hip hop corporate industry, that's driving their mental health issue home to help fulfill the needs of the corporations, the tennis shoes, the gold, alcohols, everything else that they take from the money from the graveyard, invest into the penitentiaries, and then they get out the tax money to house you in jail. Then they invest their money into pharmaceutical companies. Then they sell you the drug, and then they invest their money into textile. Then they get you to buy the clothes. So we gotta bring our people out of this mental health stage of corporate, traumatization, because it's overexposure and falsehood to an impressionable mind, and then giving them a false sense of value. You know what I'm saying? Tennis shoes, a gold chain, some diamonds, bullshit money we got is not your value. You know what I'm saying? The value is your self-esteem, knowing who you are, you know what I'm saying? Knowing who your parents are, knowing your ancestral race, things like that, that you represent that and you compete. You know what I'm saying? Race is good. Racism is good because it's about competition. We the best. You know what I'm saying? God bless us to be the best. How we go from, learning and making food and clothes and giving civilization to niggas out here living on the sidewalk, don't even know how to wipe their ass, if they ain't got no toilet paper. You know what I'm saying?
Would it be fair to say that that's systemic?
Man, that is systemic in all fashions, spiritually, mentally, and physically.
How do you address the issue of, and I'm gonna let you close out with this, answer this question for the listening audience. How do you address the issue of those that are sort of, say, like metaphorically speaking, functioning illiterates, or functioning people that are functioning with a mental illness, functioning, there's no term that I can use to identify that particular status, but a lot of us are having mental illness issues and don't know it, or just functioning under the auspices of we're okay.
I mean, you know, to me, it's a good thing, because there's another form of mental health where motherfuckers that went to school and been brainwashed, and now they can't discern right from wrong, but they think they educated because somebody gave them a degree to work in a farm. You know what I'm saying? Be it the pharmaceutical, corporate America, bank rooms, nigga, you in the farm, and they teaching you how to extract money and provide a service. You can have a mental health too, because you can look at your brother out here and who got a fresh mind. You know what I'm saying? You know, these minds are fresh still.
Still
You know
in the
what I'm
box.
saying? A lot of people look at it like, hey man, they crazy. Nah, shit. Well, the industry don't look at you like that. The industry look at you. You got a heart, liver, eyes, kidney, all that shit in your body costs money. So they get you just lay down and just die, nigga. Shit, nigga, you know, on your ID it say you donate your donors, your organs. So all that shit in your body worth money to somebody else. So you know, you just a biomass waiting to benefit somebody else. Nigga, pull yourself up. You know what I'm saying? Understand what the value is. You know what I'm saying? That's good. If you ain't been brainwashed already, that means that we, as enlightened ones, those believers who know the vision, we got to connect ourselves. You know what I'm saying? And turn these lemons into lemonade. You know what I'm saying? Turn like the Watts Tower is built out of trash, but it's a world of attraction based upon the symbol.
So would it be fair to say that we the stones that the builders rejected?
Yeah.
The cornerstone?
I'm glad the motherfucking builders rejected this stone, because this stone's right here is building a whole motherfucking other nation.
What about that black stone? How important is that?
That's it and that's all. You know what I'm saying? That's it and that's all, you know? And we come to see the Lord of Adams, and we're the migrants from Arabia. You know what I'm saying? We great. But we got to act like it though. You know what I'm saying? That's the mental health that we got to get over. Acting like we great. You know what I'm saying? You know, going back to what made us great. You know what I'm saying? It's called self-sufficient when we start depending on ourselves. We don't need nobody. The mental health is there, you know what I'm saying? Somebody else got something that you can't get, and you just pass the fuck out because you can't find a way else to get it. You don't know how to wipe your ass. You don't know how to clean your ass without toilet paper. What are you gonna do? Just put up their pen and say fuck it. Nigga, you ain't trying to find nothing to clean yourself. You know what I'm saying? Come on, survival is critical.
So it'd be fair to say that under the conditions that some of these people, because honestly, at the rate, and this is just my vision of inner self as I think about those who survive on the streets. At the rate of the world today, financially, weather, and the whole gamut of situations, it looks to me like they're more ahead of their times as real survivors in the future than we would be. Because I don't think I can walk 1 mile in their shoes with a shopping cart. So is it fair to say, like, what if the world just got to the point where there was no more social services, no more jobs available, whatever the situation was, like it was during the Depression? Well, these people we'd have to go to them for survival techniques. I don't know how to put a tent up on the sidewalk. I don't know how to recycle food.
And guess what they'll be doing? They'll be coming to you for survival because they don't know how to fucking work like that.
On that note, thank you. And remember, tune in next week.
Slavery again, motherfucker. I got the mind and you got the energy.
One last thing.
Give it back to us again.
One last thing before we
49%ers.
go. We'll talk about this again on the next episode. As I conclude, there's a ballot that's being voted upon in Oregon right now. And the ballot is to determine whether or not slavery is legal. Did you guys know that? And wait, and guess what?
They took over parts of Oregon with homelessness, and it's scaring them.
And thank you. And guess what? They're at a dead heap with each other at the races. They may have to have a runoff because they can't decide whether or not which side is correct. Keep slavery, not indigenous slavery as we know it, but slavery as if we just decide to use some of you guys who are not serving society correctly, like the homeless, we can throw you.
Let me say it better. Let me say it a little bit more corporate. I ran into some clinically insane motherfuckers that was talking, but they clinically insane. That mean they're too goddamn smart for their own good, like Tesla.
Right.
they was consider him clinically insane because the shit that he was talking about during those times, they like, we ain't never heard this shit before.
Right.
But we living in what they said they didn't back in those days. So you got some people out here that's clinically insane because it blows their mind the wealth they think they accumulate, but they can't access it because they don't have a seat at the table. You know what I'm saying? Being having a seat at the table is that people gotta understand there's only 63 people controls the fucking world. Everything from your food, your water, and all that stuff. And some people want to get at that table, but they can't allow themselves to. So we call them people clinically insane. Some of them break out. They like have
the 10% is the bloodsuckers of the poor.
Yeah. And so when he was, telling us that, recalibration. He said recalibrate. He said Mexico want to sell me they call it portfolios of cities, but these cities got 5 million people in it. In order for you to buy the city, you know what I'm saying, from the people, then you're gonna have to recalibrate those people. That means, recalibration is like colonizing them again, getting out there and teaching a different culture. Because right now, they minds is everywhere. Everybody fight one another. But they got people that got money in the world will look at that and say, I want to recalibrate that. I'll buy that. Then they get out there, then they'll put their people and integrate, then they'll start creating media to promote their new city and all that shit. And so that's what's going on now, because we live in everybody's becoming uncivilized. Everything that the rich people were relying on is now being destroyed.
What?
The oil, the gasoline, the gold, all that shit right now is being in limbo. So now you got people rising up, and so they're gonna need someone to come in and say, "Hey, the one who owns all that, he don't know. You don't know he owns everything because it's a monopoly. All the money going to his bank. That nigga making 3 cents every 2 seconds." While we chasing dollars, okay? You know what I'm saying? These motherfuckers, that's how they make their money. 3 cents every second. The motherfucker giving you 3 cents every second.
Over 6-7 billion.
Come on, man. And it ain't one, it's 100,000 motherfuckers doing that. You just want 3 cents every second. They making 3 cents every second off the bullshit. And they just got it going on. Then they sell it to another man. He come in with his idea. Put his people down there. Them people right there is the bad ones. You find a way to kill them, suppress them, mix them in. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's a lot of shit going on out here. You know what I'm saying?
It's a techno-colonization.
And that's it, slavery. You know what I'm saying? Because,
So in other words,
let me add to that. Our prophet taught, peace and blessings be upon him, Muhammad, Sallallahu Islam, the Khatam and the Nabi, and the seal of all the great prophets and messengers. Ain't nothing coming after Prophet Muhammad but the trumpet blast. Let me tell you something. He said, the more man becomes technological, the more savage he becomes. Because he considers himself as a creator besides Allah with his robots and shit. So then Allah leaves him. And then he becomes a savage. That's what we got going on today. Man perceives himself to be a creator besides his creator. He's just a fucking innovator. He's innovating on the creation of his creator. But once you think your ass is creating something, no more God, then you go down to the dogs. This is what's going on right now. We're in the last days. Trumpet blast, tsunami coming, earthquake coming, real quick on a block near you.
Survival skills.
Yeah, that's all that people is not living today. They are surviving.
Goddamn right.
And people are just scraping to survive, bro.
It's called the transition of power.
The transition.
Only it's 2 ways you can suspend the Constitution of the United States of America. One by one by an invading force.
Militia.
The other one by
biological
warfare.
Yeah.
We was resetted during COVID. You remember everything with this? They shut down a $21 trillion economy.
Wow.
And all the children
To nothing.
and all those top 8 students are failing for Dr. Fauci saying no more school. Now all those top 8 high achieving valedictorians are failing today.
It's called the passing of the torch. Make sure we get ours. We need our own torch this time, baby. We can't be
We don't need nobody.
2 nations can't rule at the same time. One got to be subservient unto the other. Okay. And as you see, if you're an old type, melanin type person, you know what I'm saying, you always being in service and not being the one that's really benefiting, you know what I'm saying, from the spoils of creating your own intellectual thoughts and things like that, So it's time for us to, like you said, change that narrative.
Thank you very much. And that is the 3rd edition of our generic podcast called What's Your Story? What's your story? Everybody has a story. What's yours? Thank you to Becky Hammonds is watching. the twins out there. We had some technical issues, but hopefully our Geek Squad will come in. We'll be in a more sophisticated studio in the very near future. But until then, remember, the journey of 1,000,000 miles don't begin with one step. It begins with one thought. Peace.
Wow.
Where you at, you man?
Straight to the left.
Wait a minute.